Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. My name's Claire at Dundee Carers Centre, and today we're here to speak to Gemma, Paul and Fiona about the Dundee Carers Charter within the Dundee Schools. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, good morning.
Hi.
So Gemma, we've got Gemma here from the Dundee Carers Charter. We have got Fiona Lowe, who is Education Officer for Learning and Inclusion, and Paul Flemming, who is the Interim Head of Education and Chief Education Officer within Dundee. So hi. So like we said, we're here to talk about the Dundee Carers Charter within schools, and I do have some questions for you guys, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Good. So, Gemma, I'm going to start with yourself, Gemma. Could you just tell us briefly, Gemma, what the Dundee Carers Charter is, please?
Yeah, so the Dundee Carers Charter is for businesses and organisations to sign up to help identify and support unpaid carers in the community. They may have employees who are unpaid carers, or if in a public setting like schools, and speaking to anyone with caring responsibilities. Being recognised as being part of the Carers Charter can make you more approachable to carers, and we can help give support, access to online modules and staff training. And we're delighted that schools in Dundee are signing up to the Carers Charter, and we're going to give presentations to each individual school for taking part in this.
That sounds great. Very good, Gemma. So do we have any schools currently signed up, Gemma, at the moment?
Yeah, so Harris Academy have signed up. They went last Friday to give them a presentation and their certificate, and it was great speaking with them.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. Good. So the ball has started rolling then, definitely.
Yes.
That's good. So over to Fiona and Paul then. So could you just tell us, where does the charter fit in with the schools, please?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to come in first, Fiona. I think the first thing I'd probably say is that it's in Dundee we have a mantra, and indeed it's the name of our improvement strategy called Every Dundee Learner Matters. And that's really important to us here in terms of all our big decisions and small decisions we make in our education, learning and inclusion team. It's about demonstrating that every Dundee learner matters, so every young person. So for me, this is critical in ensuring that young carers have the opportunity to thrive at school and beyond. Research will show us that supporting young carers will not only improve outcomes for these children and young people, but also to help improve school attendance, their engagement, and their attainment levels. And we know the huge responsibilities that being a young carer can place on young people. So it's just really critical that we provide that targeted support to individual young people. I think by taking part in this partnership, our schools will be able to demonstrate how they do that at universal and targeted level. So we're delighted, as always, with our partnership and looking forward to our schools taking part. Fiona, I'm not sure if there's anything you want to add.
Thanks. I think I would just add that it seems it's a natural progression for the work that has been ongoing probably since about 2018 with Children and Family Service and our Dundee schools, and that joint work between schools, the Carers Centre and our young carers indeed as well. And this just has come at a time where I think it's, as I say, it's valid recognition of the strength of work that's ongoing in schools just now, and it's come along at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can all already see that the good work paying off, can't we, within the schools and with all the partnerships as well. And I suppose that's why we're giving quite a big push for the schools to encourage the schools to do this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that genuine collaboration and now being a young carer in school, it's completely destigmatized. All staff across all of our schools are aware now, thanks to the work and thanks as well to the young carers themselves. Yeah. I think for the young people themselves have really become quite active, and I think I'm right in saying that all of our schools now, both primary and secondary school, have specific young carer groups. That meet regularly, that come together, be it for a bit of fun, time out or whatever, but also crucially to be able to support each other.
Yeah,
and to share experiences as well.
Definitely, I think it's. I mean, we've already identified young care ambassadors that within the schools, young care coordinators, and I think it's good for young people to see another young person they can relate to to have that conversation and to be relatable within what they know that the other person could be going through too, isn't it?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think as well it's worth noting that the work, not only is it raising the profile of young carers amongst staff within schools, it's actually raising the whole notion of being a carer amongst young people.
Yeah.
And we have increasing numbers of young people coming forward and identifying themselves as young carers, which is a real positive as well.
Which is good. Yeah, definitely. Sorry, Paul, were you going to say something?
Thanks. Yeah, I will. Pretty similar. I think what's really, really important is how this supports the young person, but it's the wider benefits from the whole school community and understanding, what care looks, sounds and feels like, and the impact of that care on family and extended family and so on. So it's fantastic. And I think, Fiona's right about the importance there of destigmatizing. It's an interesting balance to get, so we want young carers to get support, but we don't want them to feel disadvantaged in any way or feel like that's not a good thing. And Fiona, it's just one of the quote you shared with me this week. Was it this week, Fiona, from a young carer, in terms of when we were pulling together a funding report? A young carer said, there's so much help for young carers in Dundee. At first, I hated moving to Dundee as it is boring and there is nothing to do. I was really shocked, though, at how much support there is for young carer compared to my old city. I didn't really know I was a young carer until I moved here. So it's just getting a balance right. Because we want a young person to understand they're a young carer, but not to stand out in a non-positive way, if you like. So that was lovely and really, for me, hit the nail on the head in terms of the work that you folks do at Dundee Cares Centre in partnership with our schools.
Yeah, and that was good to hear. That was good to hear. And a good quote as well to come from somebody, just to be able to say that this has made a difference for them and the support that's been available. So yeah, that's good. Good. So I know you said we've got Harris signed up already. That happened last week with the presentation, which is fantastic. I know that's the pilot for the future for the rollout for the schools across the city. So when the schools do sign up to be part of the charter, how are they going to be identified to be in part of the charter? What is the plan for that?
Well, Sarah, both senior and myself have planned a series of visits to each of our school clusters for the remaining time this academic session, and we will at these meetings talk about the charter and invite schools to apply for charter. But obviously we'll be strongly recommending that schools, because I think it's fair that they get that recognition and recognition in the community as well, so that the others can see the work that's going on to support young carers. So we've already, on the back of the Harris receiving their charter last week, we have also spoken to the Morgan cluster, and that should be the next cluster, and certainly the next secondary school, and subsequently, very quickly thereafter, the primary schools will come forward as well to receive the charter. And the hope is that by June 2023, we will have a fair few, if not, in fact, all of our schools recognised with the Carers Charter. That
sounds great. That sounds amazing. Really good work.
I think Claire, what we'll see, and I've come into this post returning to Dundee in February, and what we see is that ethos and culture in Dundee to support at individual level young people, and particularly those who are disadvantaged or have additional support needs, and I'm always just blown away by the different levels of support. So if we think about our care experience young people, the high quality champions boards that are in individual schools, so I've no doubt that our schools will all have young carers will be very interested in signing up for this, because they'll know it's in the best interest of their young people.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, it's just having that recognition as well, isn't it? Making that stand out, that kind of start to say, yeah, we do stand here, we do recognise young carers, and we work well to kind of continue to do that. So yeah, it sounds fantastic, guys.
I think Claire, it's also important for our families and our wider communities, just to really again, like you say, recognition. And our schools don't do things, for recognition. It's always nice to be recognised, to do for the young people, but for our families and for whom these young people will be carers of, if you like, it's nice to know, because that, in my experience as a head teacher, whilst there's a huge responsibility for the young person, the family, in terms of how family feels about their child or young person being a carer can be challenging. So to know, it's a recognition, but to do that, they know we're working in real effective partnership with experts and those with experience. So I think that's really reassuring, I suppose, to these families too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, well, yeah, it all sounds good. I look forward to seeing all the sign-ups in the new year and into next year as well for 2023. So thank you very much for joining me today on Let's Talk and talking about the Charter. And yeah, we look forward to seeing more sign-ups soon.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.